Thank you very much, Mr. Kevin Barnaby. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Breakfast Club. You're with me, Ben Ibrahim, and we're on the last half an hour of our show where we have breakfast with a special guest. And today we're talking to Mr. Matt Bellotti, executive editor of Mongoose Magazines. Matt, welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, you dressed the part. I usually see editors, very relaxed, wearing jeans, coming into the office about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then they just get into the thick of the action with very much in a relaxed, casual tone.
I think my team will be fairly surprised to see me in this attire this morning.
Yeah,
they might recognise me.
They're probably looking at the screens. Hey, boss, is that you? Yeah. But today, Matt, we're talking about building a comedy culture here in Malaysia. Now, Mongoose Publications, for the benefit of our audience who don't know who Mongoose is, it's a publication company which produces magazines such as Time Out magazine. I'm sure many of you read it. I do read it when I'm having my Starbucks cappuccino and cafe latte every weekend to find out all the latest restaurant and comedy updates and other lifestyle activities and matters. But one of the great things that Time Out magazine is doing is to sort of initiate and try to build a comedy club culture here in Malaysia. So tell us a little bit about it. How's it going? How long is it running for?
Well, it's going very well. We started the Time Out Comedy Thursday on when we started the magazine, which is April, May 2008.
Right. 2008. Yeah,
time
2008,
does fly when you're laughing
away.
Right, absolutely right. So we decided, as Time Outs tend to do, it's not just enough to be a magazine, produce a magazine. What we want to do is give something back to the KLites, put something on that can entertain people, encourage them to go out, have a good time. Stand-up comedy is something that I used to go and watch a lot in the UK.
I'm sure, yeah.
So we did a bit of investigating, found a couple of local comedians who we thought were fairly funny,
right,
and gave them a platform to do their thing. And it's been absolutely wonderful. We've received so many people come along every month and have a really good time. It's just a wonderful thing to do.
So, how often is it run every month?
Well, it's the first Thursday of every month.
So once a month, basically?
Yeah, so it's Time Out Comedy Thursday,
right.
Happens on a Thursday, and it's comedy.
Right. And what time does it start? When is the next one running?
Well, the next one's tomorrow night. It's the first Thursday of the month, so the first one's tomorrow night.
The 2nd of December,
and that will be 2nd of December. It starts usually at 9 o'clock, although we encourage people to get there for about 8:30, maybe a little bit just because tickets.
It's very popular. We'll sell out a month. We get about 350 to 400, and we'll sell out every single month. Really. So yeah, it's wonderful. Now, Matt, in terms of your position as editorial director of Mongoose, how long have you been working in that position here in Malaysia? Well, I've been in Malaysia just over 5 years.
Wow.
And it's just it's a wonderful place. One of the great things about being in Malaysia is that you have the opportunity to do nights such as this.
Right.
I think in the role I was in the UK, in general, you wouldn't get these opportunities. And at least there's a defined comedy scene there. And when you come over, there are some nice comedy events. There are some very, very talented comedians here.
Right.
But the chance to put on a regular night and actually build a culture, I think what we're doing with Comedy Thursday isn't just creating a one-off night that people can come along to. The goal is to establish very firmly a scene, a comedy scene.
Yeah. Now, how hard is it? Tell us about sort of the methodology. I know this is not chemical engineering or anything mathematical, but you're from another country, and like you said, in the UK, comedy is a first class or for sure seller. But here in Malaysia, we're probably a bit more laid back. We like our food. We like coming together, meeting up with friends. We're very much laid back in that way. People do enjoy a good laugh, but more on the social context if someone's having a tete-a-tete with one another, having a nasi lemak or a meal. But my question is, how do you build? From the perspective of comedy, how do you build a culture in a society like Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia? Because it's not something that can be done overnight or over 2 weeks. So how do you do it?
Well, you're absolutely right, but you've just described there straight away exactly the essence of comedy.
Really?
Observing society. You mentioned the mamak stall, people going and drinking their tete-a-tete. that is the basis of a good set.
Really?
Absolutely fine. The best comedy is always about relating to people, their everyday life. And I would slightly dispute the fact that Malaysians aren't naturally geared towards watching comedy, because Malaysians, in my experience, incredibly funny, happy people that love to laugh.
Yeah, we love to laugh, but it's not like if you think about comedy club, it sounds very structured, yeah?
Well, it is.
Comedy night or something.
You're absolutely right, and I think what the successful comedians that we have are those who can relate to everyday matters, and the audience tap into this, enjoy the fact that someone's poked fun. They've observed something at the Mamak store which has made them laugh, and they think that the people in the audience might laugh as well. If you compare Malaysians as people to, say, the Scottish,
right,
who naturally perhaps aren't so cheery and laughing, and yet Edinburgh is one of the great comedy centres in the world. So I think this is what we're hoping to do with Comedy Thursday, is with a regular night, is to grow the scene. I'd like to see more comedy nights all over the city, more people going out enjoying it, grow the scene, grow it into a culture. There's no reason that Kuala Lumpur can't be an established comedy destination in the years to come.
Now, Matt, you've got a really tough job. Not only do you have to select good content every month, not just for Time Out magazines, but for other magazines as well, for Mongoose publications. But when you put your recruitment and selection hat on, what do you look for in a comedian? Because anybody can talk a good game or laugh a good game in this sense, but what are the attributes that you look for to sort of like make people laugh in a comedian?
It's incredibly difficult. Comedy,
I'm sure,
comedy, as for most things, is all about experience, doing it over and over again, understanding the audience, because ultimately you don't necessarily have to have the best material. Your jokes can be average if your delivery is very good. So if you can deliver a joke, tell a joke, and that's all about understanding the audience and talking in a way that they can relate to. And that's something which is only going to come with years on stage. And I do mean years. Somebody that's done it for a few weeks or months is very unlikely to have the success. But what we do with Time Out Comedy Thursday is give people that platform. So it's giving them the first steps, because there isn't the established scene here. We get them up every month. We have a segment just for first-timers, so people that have never performed before, 3 people. They get 3 minutes to get up on stage, tell some jokes. Also, that helps because the audience, if they think I only have to put up with this for 3 minutes, they're very supportive. And then it's a case of, all right, if these guys have been good, let's get them back to do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. Build up, and before long we'll have a lot more comedians, maybe more comedy nights, and more reasons for people to go out and enjoy comedy in Malaysia.
Now, how much are tickets to get in?
Well, they're very reasonably priced. This is the other thing, as I say, because it's a platform for local comedians, it's a chance for us to build the scene. The tickets are only 25 ringgit, and there aren't many nights out that you can have that maybe 2.5 hours worth of entertainment for 25 ringgit. And if you go onto the website, we have a coupon that you can download or book online, and it's only 15. So 15 ringgit, it's next to nothing.
Right. Now, tell us about the comedians itself. Now, every time I think of comedy in Malaysia, I think about Harith Iskandar, Douglas Lim, but then I couldn't really go further than that in terms of paradigm or thinking. But I mean, tell us about the upcoming talent here in Malaysian comedy, because I do know there are some guys who are knocking on the door and showing a lot of promise.
Well, this has been the most rewarding thing. This is the main joy that it brings me, is to see guys coming through who wouldn't have had this platform but for Comedy Thursday. And there are some extraordinary talents. You look at, I mean, Harith Iskandar, it's wonderful that he's been around for so long. He's done a wonderful, really incredibly funny guy. And he was doing this 17 years ago when there were no, literally no comedy.
He was very much a pioneer in that stage,
Absolutely. So if you compare maybe what he does, which is show every couple of times throughout the year, and that's very good. But ours is a very different thing, and we actually work quite closely with Harith in terms of talking about comedy. But what we do is to put on the local night, the platform for the young aspiring comedians, and we have some great guys. Tomorrow night we've got a guy performing called Kwai Jian Han.
He's many say he's the rising star.
Well, he's an excellent talent, and again, the reason that for me that he is so talented and so accomplished, he always delivers when he takes stage, is he works incredibly hard, and we have a pool of about, I think, 6, perhaps 7 comedians who do work so hard at it, and we have another guy.
Because it is tough, isn't it, to make people laugh. You just got to know your audience on the spot and say, you know, you can't just press it, like, click a button on the wall and say laugh, you know,
Absolutely,
like they do in television in those live shows. But
wouldn't that be nice?
It wouldn't be nice. It would be nice.
No, they work very hard, and they can pick out people in the audience that they know they're going to get some response from. And no, we do. We have a pool of about 6 or 7 excellent comedians. Every month, at least 2 or 3 of those are on the Comedy Thursday stage, and we mix those up with people that either haven't done it before or have maybe only done it once or twice. And we grow the scene. So you get a good mixture at Comedy Thursday. You'll see not just the stars of tomorrow, but maybe the stars of the day after tomorrow as well.
Okay. Look, hold your horses there, Matt. We're just going to take a very short commercial break, because when we return, we're going to find out more about building a comedy club culture here in Malaysia, according to our expert, Matt Bellotti, what's editorial director of Mongoose magazine. I'm a stickler for titles, so I made sure that I got the position title right, because to me, Matt, Time Out magazine is a great magazine, and I almost
very much.
said editor of Time Out magazine, but that would not be
That's true.
politically correct either. But when we come back, more with Matt about building a comedy club culture here in Malaysia, right here on The Breakfast Club. Don't go away.
I think it's important for us to migrate from this concept of mere tolerance to acceptance, in that sense that you are ready to accept things. If you're willing to accept things, to embrace things willingly, I think your capacity to look at things in a more positive manner is much better than mere tolerance. And this is what we require for Malaysia. We have to get the best of the Malays, the best of the Chinese, the best of the Indians, the best of the others,
The government's committee.
and mold them together so that collectively we'll be much bigger than the sum of the individuals.
Tiada siapa yang mempunyai mata di belakang kepala. Oleh itu, sentiasalah berjalan menghadap lalu lintas. Berjalanlah menghadap lalu lintas dan mampu mengubahnya.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Breakfast Club. You're with me, Ben Ibrahim, and our guest today, Mr. Matt Bellotti, editorial director of the Mongoose Publication Group. Matt, thank you very much for being with us. We're
Great to be
talking
here.
about building a comedy club culture here in Malaysia, according to the Time Out Way. And tomorrow night, folks, get down at what time? 8:30
Get
at
there for
Zouk
8:30.
nightclub.
That's right, yeah.
And 2.5 hours of non-stop laughter, because Time Out magazine has put together some of the best comedians in this day and age, local comedians, and we have some expat comedians as well.
Yeah, I'll be emceeing myself, but
Right.
other than that, tomorrow night is all local,
Right.
and it's great to see. And it's a special night because it's the last one of the year, so it'll be a real belter of an evening.
And this is an initiative to keep going next year.
I will keep going forever and ever.
Yeah,
our goal,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, our goal here is not just to put on a night for us. We want to see lots of comedy nights, lots more comedians. This is why we're bringing through the young talent, the new people that haven't tried it before. It'd be great to have lots of pubs in the same way as the UK. All the pubs, bars are putting on comedy nights, 6, 7, 8, 10 of them every single night. And let's grow a culture here. Let's put KL on the map as a comedy destination.
That's all the best to you, my friend. We hope that I'm sure not only will you have a lot of laughs, but it'll be a good sort of project, and others to follow as well, because this is a really great initiative, something new, something that's really never been done before, like you said earlier. But moving forward, let's talk about comedy content. Now, here in Asia, we've got a culture, especially in Malaysia, we like to save face. We don't like to make sure, we don't want to embarrass anybody, we don't want to shame anybody, we don't want to offend anybody. But sometimes in comedy, you offend someone for the purpose of a joke. So, I mean, and there are certain boundaries set by the government and certain regulatory bodies about what can be talked about, what can't be talked about. So, from a comedy club building culture perspective, how difficult or challenging is that?
Well, it's difficult. We don't actually set limits on what comedians can and can't say. The key thing is what's funny and what works. We have had some comedians that have perhaps spoken about things which you wouldn't naturally speak about, and certainly in the media in Malaysia. But people, after an initial, oh, wow, this is being discussed here, actually, it's a straightforward decision, is it funny or not?
Right.
And the comedians, if they broach certain subjects, whether it be politics or something like that, if it doesn't work, if it doesn't get a laugh, they'll move on. And actually, as I mentioned earlier, comedy's all about observation. The things that get big laughs are your everyday activities, things that people do find funny, but don't necessarily understand why. And when the comedian points it out for them, they get big laughs. So it may well be drinking a teh tarik at the Mamak store. It may well be something about office life. And something that goes down very well here is just differences between different communities. And we have this wonderful Satu Malaysia, One Malaysia. But therein, of course, we're all different people, and differences between men and women, and the Chinese, Malay, Indian, and expatriates as well.
That's right.
As you say, every joke has to have a but. But it's generally, by and large, it's very funny, and we don't worry too much about the content.
But do you advise your comedians, who we can see on the screen now? That's Big Pappy Zach over there. Do you advise comedians like Pappy Zach, Harith Iskandar, Douglas Lim, Jenhan, and all of the above? Do you advise them, look, guys, this is Malaysia. Be very careful not to insult any certain politicians or public figures?
They are perfectly capable of working out that for themselves, really. Yeah,
but sometimes, in the heat of the moment, we can see people laughing their heads off now. In the heat of the moment, you can get a little carried away and, say something that you didn't mean, but that opens up a can of worms a bit.
Honestly, comedy is the king, and they'll soon find out that actually some things get better response than others. It's not a matter of us needing to censor them necessarily, because it's what works. And there was somebody, not a political comment, one of the comedians was doing an excellent set that had been going for about 10 minutes and getting a wonderful, wonderful response, and made a joke about a sickness, an illness, a disability, and suddenly the audience were quiet and realised, okay, this is something that people don't want to hear, and one of the other comedians was going to follow up with a similar line and had to change their set. So I think it's always dedicated, what do the audience want? It's up to the comedians, and they're all very, very good comedians, to get onto the stage, find out what the audience are up for, where their boundaries are quite early on, and then deliver them a set of good comedy that responds to that, and they end up having an excellent time.
Now, Matt, as we've spoken about this morning on our show, and as we saw on our screens earlier, there's a lot of, all the comedians, I know this is a bit of a generalization, but it seems that most of the comedians are male. Is there any, female talent coming through the system?
It's limited. Yeah, it's a real shame. I think it's the same in most cities, that there are a lot more male comedians than female.
Male skewed, yeah.
We do have a couple. We had a girl 2 months ago on our first timers, and she was excellent. She actually won. We do a little competition for the three of them.
Ah, yes.
So it's a kind of a cheers from the audience, and she won that month. So she's going to be up again in January, and she's very, very talented, very funny person. So yeah, it's slowly emerging. We have had, I think, she was the third female that we've had on our Comedy Thursday stage, and all of them have gone down relatively well. So I think it's something I'd actively encourage. There's certainly no boundaries when it comes to comedy. So yeah, come in. If you're female and you want to make people laugh, let me know.
So there is an opportunity for people who do, if they think they've got the right stuff to make people laugh, there's an avenue and a portal for them to step up and, show their stuff, so to speak.
That's the core belief, the core mission of Time Out Comedy Thursday, is to have people that want to give it a go, regardless of
give it a crack. Yeah.
Do you think you're funny? Have you got something that should be said? That's what we do at Time Out KL.
Okay. Now, is there a website or anywhere else they can a portal they can go and register their details, find out a bit more information about the criteria, so to speak?
Yeah, we have timeoutkl.com is the website. You can email us as well, editor@timeoutkl.com. Get the information, that's editor@timeoutkl.com. Let us know, or just drop by tomorrow night. Come and see us at Zook. You'll see me. I'll be in a t-shirt and looking slightly less smart.
He's very tall.
But you shouldn't be able to miss me. And let me know, and we'll get you up as soon as we possibly can.
Right. And this is a final question, Matt. We're sort of running out of time a bit, unfortunately, because this has been a very interesting topic. Now, most comedians I meet, I mean, not just in Asia, Malaysia, Europe, South America, North America, Australasia, the whole wide world, really. Now, most of them, this, again, a bit of a generalization, but they're very insular, quiet people, you know, just sitting in the corner, minding their own business, drinking their cup of tea. But when they get on stage, it's just like a switch, Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing. What's your theory behind that?
I think it's audience. Everything, or a large part of comedy is about the delivery and the performance. As I mentioned earlier, the material is secondary to the performance, and it's the audience. So you get the buzz from the audience. When you get on stage, naturally it's nice. 400 people all clapping you to start off with. You get a buzz anyway, and the adrenaline kicks in, and you get the mic in your hand, and you know what you want to say. If you tell a joke, it gets across, people laugh. You're bouncing all over the place. It's good.
All right, well, Matt, all the best for tomorrow night with your comedy club.
Thank you very much,
for
man.
the future of the year 2011, and have a happy new year. May it bring many, many more laughs to many Malaysians. Matt Bellotti, executive editor of Mongoose Publication, the producer of Time Out magazine. Get down there to Zouk Thursday night, not Malaysian timing, timing indeed, 8:30 p.m. at Zouk nightclub, 25 ringgit only.
Or 15 if you book it today.
Oh, 15 if you book. Oh, 15 if you book today. That's a good bargain. Get down there and have a few laughs. But from me, Ben Ibrahim, right here on the Breakfast Club. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day.
Current issues, latest headlines, illuminating visuals, everything right and now on Bernama News.
In good shape. The health show for body, mind, and soul. From medical trends to wellness tips. A weekly dose of